This is Iron Man. Iron Man is a 5-year-old gelding. He tends to take off at random moments.
Might have a small snack along the way, because when he doesn't understand the elements individually, he was incredibly suspicious and insecure. He's a horse that will learn quickly, but he's also a horse through the process that needs lots of little sessions. The one major question that made him insecure was the right eye, left eye. The simple fact of them not understanding it will put them into tension. They ask the question, they're not sure what to do. So Catherine will just use a little voice and then the flag. And this is going through your emergency procedure. Now he's releasing some more tension.
That's him, not me.
Yeah, and that's what you want to feel. Young Iron Man. Yeah, and of course, as you can see, he's been through boot camp and come out the other side. So we'll take him in. Today's plan is we show you a little bit the steps of how he got to where he is, and how he overcame the little triggers, and give you the feeling of the steps and what you need to know through the ground pattern. It's not that he comes and he goes through the program and then you have the perfect angel that stays good for the rest of his life.
Damn.
Yeah, if I had a magic wand that could do that, then I would be a lot better off. But the idea is that now he has, of course, the information about how to control himself. And of course, when he was getting into situations where he lost control of his posture, that of course makes him unsure. He doesn't know what to do with his body, and then when you have that insecurity, and then of course he goes directly into the flight reaction, and you get the runoff, which was of course the symptoms. So the first thing was to get him really comfortable in his body, and that he was really aware of where he was putting his feet, how to get stability and control. You know, when we turned him around, that he wasn't, you know, losing balance. And then he had to really understand the meaning of pressure. So that pressure was not something that was pressure, you know, that's something that you have to be afraid of or react to or run away from, but it was purely a question. The one major question that made him insecure was the right eye, left eye. And we solved that mostly with the tools, with him being able to have you on the left, and then he sees something on the right, and then the head got up in the wrong posture. We were able to stay there, of course, so the pressure wasn't released. Of course, when you're in a riding situation and the horse is a bit right eye, left eye and gets scared at the run, all you think of is, okay, let's just stop and be safe. And through that process, that becomes the cycle or the pattern. He sort of gets the head up and then he thinks, I have to get out of here, and then he makes the run, and then he feels all right, and he starts to think that the run is the answer of getting out of a situation. So to break that pattern is to try to influence him with the element that makes him nervous, which is the pressure of the right eye, left eye. And then from there we could progress to adding speed to it. So you had first the element, what do you do in response in your body when you're just presented with it. Second thing is starting to move, so that you can progress to adding impulsion and starting to depict what it's like when you ride. And so when he had all the information that he needed, then we get on. So it's not like you have a run-off horse and you get on and you make him run off and you tell him not to do it and then he learns not to do it. You know, it's like the riding was the exam and if we don't give him all the information and we tell it go to the exam and he fails and we say don't fail.
So it's actually your exam, not his.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. If we get on and something goes wrong, then we failed to give him the information. So generally when we have horses like Iron Man, it can often come from a lot of different reasons. You know, a horse is starting under saddle and they don't have all the information, and the riders get on a bit early, or they try to sort of sneak on quietly and hope the horse is able to cope with it or get used to the rider slowly. And then these things can happen because of course the horses don't have all the knowledge and information they need to know before the exam, which is of course the exam is the riding part. So we're wanting to prepare the horses as best we can, that they know first all the controls, that they understand the meaning of each of the aids, how to turn left and right, forward, back, and that they're really good at understanding the rein aid, and they understand the order in which they need to move the body from the leg aid. Because of course if they don't understand these things, the simple fact of them not understanding it will put them into tension. They ask the question, they're not sure what to do, they go into tension, and then all these tension moments or tension patterns can of course lead them into the flight instinct, the running away. So we just go through this pattern first so you get a bit of a feel. So rein about the length of the neck, and then you have the feeling, hi mum, I'm a new person. So you're getting to feel also in your own body this connection between the rein and the leg aid. Very good. And that you feel that he really, not that he pivots on the right front, but that he takes a smaller circle on the right front. The energy goes under from the right hind and through the left front. Very good. Good. And then moving the front legs.
Does it matter which one first?
No. Good. So you can see we have a TRT Method member here who knows her patterns.
I did my homework.
Did your homework. Very good. So this makes my job really easy, but it also gives you a big advantage because now he knows the patterns and what he's doing, and you're also familiar with them, so he feels from you right away now, no confusion.
Right.
Now we haven't given him anything just before you start wondering if he's had some sedation. There's a definite disclaimer in there that we have not given this horse anything. Good, and then a little bit more speed. Good, and that's also important to be able to know that you can ask more and that he still stays in control. Not
Right.
that you have the feeling like if I speed him up, will he get to the running off again? A little bit quicker. Touch him really on the, yeah, good. We go through the tools a little bit so you get to feel yourself what the response should be and what you're looking for in his response to pressure in general. Because it's now his responsibility to control himself if he's presented with something. So then you start to rub him a little bit over the body. Good, and of course he's just come out of boot camp, so you're not going to get any really wild reactions. And so in the beginning, good, perfect. So in the beginning, this really caused the, oh, what's behind me? Right. As soon as the neck came up and got short, that turned the turbo boosters on, and then he was running there.
Right.
So this is how we teach him, this progression of how you started. And of course, when we started with the tools to really ask something, he went to run away,
Yeah.
but he goes into the turning,
Right.
which is the thing that brought him into the rest point.
Right.
So it's sort of a big clue to say your body's softening.
Yeah.
And can you feel yourself relax? Yes, good. That's where you need to be.
Right.
And then we build to this, the real insecure area, which was something passing
Right.
left and right. So a lot of the work was not only teaching him the ground patterns and being in control and having knowledge of his body, understanding the leg aid, so when the rider is trying to help him through something, it's not adding pressure. He gets into that situation where he gets nervous. We try to do something with our aids. He doesn't understand them perfectly well, so it only adds to the the situation of panic. So not only that, but dealing specifically with the right eye, left eye. So working with the tools, asking the question, what is it that you should do when you experience something moving behind you, whether that's a rider or whether that's a flag or an umbrella or a bag on a stick, doesn't matter. It's the simple element of what the horse, does the horse have the knowledge to know what to do in that situation? And the simple fact of him not knowing what to do will of course cause the tension. So when we give him that information, what's one being the horse, plus one being the object or the tool or the person moving behind him, what is the answer to that? And we make sure that the horse knows the answer before we get into the position of sitting on the back. So that's where the groundwork is really helpful, in that we can set up the situation, ask the specific question that deals with the specific weakness the horse has, and then we're able to give him the knowledge so he has the confidence not to be afraid anymore. I've got my good Canadian jockey here, Catherine Darby, will then be able to show you a little bit what we did to sort of confirm what he knows here standing still and on the circle, that we confirm those things actually getting going on the track and getting moving before we put the jockey on and get moving. We have in the beginning an open bridle, so they really learn, the bit is what most people would say too low, and we would say in the beginning that it's too high. And we have nearly no creases, so that then when we ask something we pick up the bit, and when he does the right thing and we relax, the bit relaxes. And we have the open bridle, so no noseband on, so that we don't force him to be in a position. He really learns how to carry the bit and where to position his tongue, because he's allowed to do the wrong thing. And some people in the beginning think, oh God, don't let him, but of course when he puts it over and it's uncomfortable and he's doing the wrong thing in his body, he's got resistance there and he tries to put it somewhere else. But of course when he gets softer in his body and he feels the tongue in the wrong position, it's uncomfortable. When he's in the right position, it goes loose. And he learns really to carry it. And then we put the noseband on in the end, but just so we look like everybody else at the competition. And there's a rule that you cannot ride without. So this is a step that enables us to teach him to follow the track, to go forward, to stop, to go back. We also have done it from this position first. So he's following the track. We're able to go forward, go back, turn the hind legs, move the front legs. We then move to this step where he learns, and as we showed in the first one, he had the flank and learning how to respond to the pressure of something coming behind him, so he's not running away because he has a rope up his butt. So all these things that would normally trigger a horse that is running from pressure, trigger him to think, it brings the focus on his weakness. So here, because of the pattern, the normal groundwork pattern, we're getting really control of the feet and being able to go along the track and turn to the outside. He turns left hind leg under. And this is also the pattern that we do when we first get on. So when we get on and we make the first few laps, we make sure that we can turn to the outside.
Right.
So he's able to turn the hind leg.
And what's your leg now on the long reins?
A little bit the pressure of the rein against, but it's more that he just follows the direction of his nose.
Right, okay.
Then a little bit in trot. And so here you have to be super coordinated. You have to have an extremely good running style. And you have to be able to coordinate the running and your hands separately, which is no different to riding. Everything in hand requires the coordination, the ability to control different parts of your body separately. So it's really getting that your hands are independent. He can take the rein, and he sees Catherine running behind him. And what she does, it's the same reason why she turned to the outside in the beginning, is if he gets fast, she just turns him a little bit to the outside, which gets the hind leg to turn, and he then comes to the relaxed point again. So this requires, of course, the skill of the trainer, but it's, again, a process of being able to teach him, just like he did in the halter, the pressure comes, he's finding a position of control, and then we just add the movement to that. So you see there, he's not choosing to run, he's choosing to rest. And then we try to combine the two. So we ask him to go, and then we ask him to continue to go. So Catherine will just use a little voice, and then the flag. And the same thing again, if he chooses to run, she turns to the outside. When he chooses to walk, she stops. So he really knows at the point where he's experiencing pressure, as he's enjoying his work, he should look always for the position of rest. When you're sitting on and he goes into rest when he hears something, you can then just say, no, it's okay, we can just continue.
Right.
But if he doesn't choose the rest, and you say to continue, it only turns into a run. Okay, then you can jump on, Catherine, and you can show a bit the riding. So we put the jockey on first so you can see, you have the evidence that the crash test dummy survives, and then it's safe to ride. Yeah, so this is really your pilot check. So this is getting on and feeling, how much leg can I put on? Is he following the reins? Can I back up? And that if you get on and you put the leg on, and you feel one day that he's a bit sharp, you can stay in this safety pattern until he finds the rest point. And this is going through your emergency procedure. So if you get a horse that's following the track and he wants to run off, I have always this good turn, and you don't necessarily sometimes, if you get going and they get a little bit nervous with the head up, then do a half turn, Catherine. You can sort of set them up, and then when he relaxes there, that's a full turn. Just go straight. So if he got a little bit nervous, got the head up, you can, then you get to the point where you're only doing a half turn. And then as soon as he starts to relax in the body, yeah, and then again half, left leg, there, and then straight, and then half turn. So right hand down, yeah, right leg on, there, and release, good. So he's thinking about, oh, I'm going to relax, and then he goes on again.
Right.
Good, and then a little bit in trot. And then in the beginning, we don't worry too much about where the head is. We just get him to find and follow a little bit the frame that he chooses. So just like in the rope halter, he's really listening to his body and finding a position of carrying, just like he would when you're doing the clock shape. Yeah, and then relax the hand a bit more. Yeah. Then right all the way. Good, and then relax. And then in trot again. So then also when you start in trot, and you get going in the rhythm, and the rhythm's too quick, rather than taking backwards on the two reins, you're making just these little turns.
Right.
And then the same again. And then slower in the rhythm in the rising. Good. Alrighty. Let's change jockeys. Then you come into the middle. We go through the first ground pattern. So now left hind. So outside rein long. Yeah, and just think of this exercise that you would normally do. Very good. And you're looking at the hind leg. Yeah, a little bit more left rein. There's very good. Very good. Relax. Same on the right. Yeah, and right hand stays in front of your leg. Yeah, because if your inside hand gets, when you're turning the hind legs away from the neck, you'll add speed because the right front leg will go to the side.
Right.
the patterns as letting him really find where your position is also in the saddle, where your balance is, how your leg will feel when you come on, and that he gets really good security about the meaning of each of your aids. And then to the left, left hind, left leg, focus on the leg and the hind leg, not on his head. Yeah, he'll only run into the wall a couple of times and you'll realize it's there. Forward, good. And now...
Should have looked back more there.
Yeah.
Right.
So you focus on the part of the body you want to move. Outside rein long. Yeah, there's good. There's good. There. Bump. Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. It's going very smooth.
Expert rider.
Yeah. So now you feel, though, because you've done the groundwork, you're knowing what part of the body you want to move.
Right.
Where if you get up and I say turn the hind leg, and you have really no concept of what that feels like or what you're aiming to get, it's much more difficult. Good, and then you go a little bit in trot. And then you take a few strides and then slow your rising down. Good, and slow your rising. Yeah, and that's what you want to feel. Go left. Go left. Yeah, and now relax, rub him on the neck. Good. And then trot on again. And then when you feel like you're in trot, set the rhythm with your rising. Yeah, slow down, keep the contact. Good, rub him on the neck. Good. Yeah. So when you slow your rising, that's what you want to feel, that he slows down to you. If he walks, you let him walk.
Right.
Because that's the yes. Good, good. Yeah, now go free in your rising with a connection. Yeah, yeah, good, good. And now slow down your rising, and if he walks, you let him, yeah, exactly. So he starts to read your seat.
Right.
And then, of course, if you have the feeling that he doesn't read the seat, and he wants to put more energy than you want, it's not a backwards hand, it's the turn that you did so well in the beginning. This is good. Yeah, and then you slow the rising. Yeah, very good. So you're already implementing your little half turn, which is really good. So unconsciously there you already are making the right corrections. You have to keep going straight, that's okay. Good. And then relax again. And of course he's not super clear in his rhythm yet. So it's also giving him time to find that in the slow pace,
right.
And then giving him time to find the connection and the rhythm in the forward. And then again forward. Yeah. And then when he comes a little bit away from your right rein, think about just taking your right hand to the track.
Okay.
Just like controlling your right front leg when you're standing still.
Right.
And then we're going to think about the canter. Actually, we're not going to think about it, we're just going to do it. So you just ask him with the voice of the kiss noise to go on, and then you cluck once, and now double cluck, and relax. Good.
Straight or circle?
Yeah, it's okay, whatever you choose. Good, and relax the hand. Very good, like this. He canters on his own legs. Good, good, and now relax and let him trot again. And just by relaxing, he comes back himself. Yeah. Good. You're doing also really good with the split cowboy reins. Now he's releasing some more tension.
That's him, not me.
Slow the rising again and let him walk. Yeah, very good. And so there you start to have the feeling that he starts to want to go more. And then when he has more direction and he gets this impulsion from the hind leg more through to the front, he takes then a much better shape through his body, and then the end result is you start to feel a much more secure, safe connection on the bridle.
Yeah.
And then the more he has the feeling of where his body's going to the connection. Of course, he gets more rest in the trot. He's not sort of thinking, am I going? Am I? You know, He starts to get in the rhythm, and then he starts to breathe more. Everything gets more steady, going more like clockwork. This is good. And then there's a moment where he has that unconscious old pattern of a bit of tension. And in the end, it's not that we try to solve it, that those bits never happen.
Right.
Because that's not reality. You can't wave a wand and say, all is gone. You know? Those things get deeply imprinted. And the goal is to be able to then give him the skills that if he feels like that, that there is an out.
Right.
So in the moment of tension or a moment where it could go in the wrong way, you're taking the precise physical action to be able to release that bad moment,
right,
and be able to get yourself going in a good way. Good.
This gives me a lot of confidence. He felt super safe to ride now, and it's quite easy to implement once you get the hang of it, and it definitely, yeah, it just makes me feel confident and safe, basically, that there's not something to worry about, and even if something happens, that we can fix it and it won't be a big deal.
Very good.
Super good.
Good boy, yeah? You passed the exam.
Absolutely.